My first real vlog since moving back to the Northeast, where I won't be able to do quite as many theme park vlogs. Gonna combine two of my favorite topics: minor league baseball and history, checking out a Reading Fighting Phils game in Reading, Pennsylvania at First Energy Field, which is turning 75 years old this year. Definitely a lot of history, and we're gonna talk about a lot of it. I thought I would highlight some of the players in the Baseball Town Hall of Fame. Mike Schmidt played for the Reading Phillies. We'll talk about him a lot more today. The power hitter Greg Lazinski, former shortstop and Phillies manager Larry Boa, the unfortunately named Dick Whistle. We're going to move on to Roger Maris, who broke Babe Ruth's single-season home run record in 1961. It wasn't broken again until 1998. Rocky Colavito, an absolute legend, very great ball player. Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. I was actually at his Hall of Fame induction in Cooperstown, New York. We have some other great players who are scattered throughout this list, and I just want to highlight some of the bigger ones. Darren Daulton, who passed away recently, was a solid catcher for the Phillies for a number of years. Kevin Gross, the pitcher. Max Patkin, who is the clown prince of baseball. Rico Petrocelli, who was on pace to be one of the greats, and then he had an injury that halted his career. Frank Home Run Baker, who played minor league baseball in Reading, a Hall of Famer. Mike Lieberthal, I actually got to see him play catcher in Reading, and then he went on to be an all-star. Mickey Morandini is still affiliated with the club, I believe, doing some coaching. Just so many legends who took the field in Reading. A 75-year-old stadium was bound to have some great ball players play there. Ricky Bottalico was there. I remember getting his autograph when he was there when I was a kid. He went on to be an all-star. Andy Ashby, Toby Borland, they were both there when I was watching Reading Phillies games when I was a kid. The 1911 Reading Pretzels. Great team name. Pat Burrell went on to win a World Series for the Phillies. We'll talk about Ruth Hartman a little later in the video. Hall of Famer Scott Rowland. Hall of Famer and former U.S. Senator Jim Bunning. Robin Roberts, Hall of Famer. Underrated player Reggie Smith. Really should get a better look at the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he belongs there, but he should get a better look. Power hitter Ryan Howard, the great Jimmy Rollins, and Carlos Ruiz, the three of them played a big part in the 2008 Phillies World Series championship team. As you can imagine, a ballpark that's been around for 75 years has had a lot of legends play here, and we're going to see a lot commemorating that over the course of this video. But out in left field, or at least left center field, they have the 5 retired numbers for people who played here in Reading. Hall of Famer Robin Roberts, Hall of Famer and former U.S. Senator Jim Bunning, Hall of Famer Scott Rowland, who waited way too long to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. He definitely deserved it. We have Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg, and of course number 24 for the Reading Phillies, who was number 20 in Major League Baseball, Mike Schmidt. Probably, even though my favorite player of all time was Wade Boggs, the third baseman, Mike Schmidt, probably you have to give him the tip of the cap as the greatest third baseman of all time. And out in right field, they pay tribute to 2 absolute legends of the game. Of course, every major and minor league team has retired the number 42 for Jackie Robinson, and a lot of teams have started retiring the number 21 for the great Roberto Clemente. 2 absolute legends, not only great baseball players, and both of them were definitely great baseball players, but even better people, and so deserving of having their numbers retired by as many teams as possible.
Now let's meet our vegetables. Cauliflower racing for the right field grandstand. Broccoli for the green seat. Carrot for the left field grandstand. And lettuce for the blue seat. The race will start outside Gehringer Mechanical, and they're off. Those vegetables sprint across the covered bridge in the Ole Valley and race past the pagoda. As they rush past Shirk Stadium, they arrive at the pool pavilion in right field. Here come those vegetables. Broccoli with the early lead, but cauliflower close behind. Lettuce and carrot. Who's going to win tonight? Cauliflower takes the lead as they pass first base, but carrot turns on the Jets. It's cauliflower, and here comes carrot. Carrot takes the lead around home. Carrot is going to run away with this one. Carrot has won tonight.
So one of the incredible ways that they do preserve history here in Reading at this ballpark are by commemorating every National Baseball Hall of Famer who ever played at this park. And like I said, it's been around for 75 years, so there have been quite a few. So anybody pictured here is a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. And for example, here with Jeff Bagwell, they will say he was a visiting player for the New Britain Red Sox in 1990, inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2017. I probably saw him play. in 1990 here. And here we have my favorite baseball player of all time, mentioned him a little earlier. Played here as a visiting player for the Bristol Red Sox in 1978 and 79. Was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2005. I was actually at that ceremony, went up to Cooperstown, New York for it, but Wade Boggs honored here. Also the great Carl Yastrzemski. Vladimir Guerrero, whose son is currently one of the best players in baseball. Played for the Harrisburg Senators in 1996, and he played here. We have Ryan Sandberg, Robin Roberts, some of the players who've had their numbers retired that we mentioned earlier. The great Ricky Henderson passed away earlier this year, or it might have been towards the end of last year. Ricky Henderson played here as a member of the Jersey City A's in 1978. Just amazing history. In 1988, Ken Griffey Jr. played here in Reading as a visiting player for the Vermont Mariners. And of course, Steve Carlton, Hall of Famer from the Phillies, played a bunch of exhibition games here over the course of his career. So they already have CC Sabathia, who's being inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. Todd Helton, who went in last year. The great Satchel Paige pitched here in an exhibition game for the Kansas City Monarchs in 1961. Jim Tomei, Greg Maddux, Mariano Rivera in 1994. That would have been around the time that I kind of stopped coming here quite as much, because I was doing my playing at that time. Scott Rowland, David Ortiz, and then two players who are both long overdue and are getting into the Hall of Fame this year. Dick Allen and Dave Parker. Both should have been way before this. Back in 2008, the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series, and this wall commemorates all the players who went from Reading to play for that 2008 World Series championship Phillies team. As we move closer to the bottom of the hill here, we're getting the guys who contributed a lot more, like Pat Burrell, the catcher Carlos Ruiz, Jimmy Rollins, Cole Hamels, who I believe was the MVP of that World Series, and Ryan Howard. From Reading to World Series champions. This is Ruth Hartman. She actually played 2 seasons, 1946 and 1947, in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Obviously, anyone who's ever seen the movie A League of Their Own knows the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Well, this Reading native played 2 seasons in that league. So very cool that they pay tribute to that as well. So in my own personal story with baseball, these would be the years where I was coming to Reading Phillies games like at least once every other week. I know in 1993 I got autographs from Ricky Bottalico, who ended up becoming an MLB All-Star, Tom Nuneviller, who never made the majors, but I know I had an autograph or 2 from him. I had this 1992 Reading Phillies team picture. I know this was in my room. I think the 91 one was hanging in my room as well. But some of these players I distinctly remember being some of my first favorite players, and you have such great access to the players when you're here at minor league games. You have the chance to get autographs and to meet players and talk to them. So it was a really big deal for me. in those years. To be able to see professional baseball up close, have my father be able to say, hey, you're a catcher, you know, why don't you watch the catchers like this guy right here. Jeff Grotwald. I remember watching him a lot because he was the catcher for Reading when I was first starting to play that position in Little League Baseball. So just really cool to look back at all this history. So I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but Taylor Swift is from the Reading area, actually Wyomissing, Pennsylvania to be specific, and she had previously sung the national anthem here at a bunch of Reading Phillies games, or at least one or two Reading Phillies games. I know she did the national anthem at a couple Sixers games as well in Philadelphia before she became famous. So they pay tribute to Taylor here with this wall in the stadium. So I was really excited to be able to get a plant-based burger here at the ballpark. It was $10. Now there is tax on that, but it was $10, and I'm gonna say this was one of the best plant-based burgers I have had at a baseball stadium. They charred the outside, like they have real grills here, actual grills with smoke and all that stuff. And I think we just got a Reading home run. There you go. Big old home run for the Fightin Phils. Anyway, so I was able to get the plant-based burger charred nice and smoky on the outside, and then on the inside it was still kind of juicy, and they did put cheese on it, so it was a really, really good combo. All right, it's time to call it a night from First Energy Ballpark in Reading, formerly known as Reading Municipal Memorial Stadium. They are celebrating their 75th year as a ballpark, hosting professional games here in Reading. At one point, they were the affiliate of the Guardians. Obviously, back then they had a different name, the Cleveland Guardians organization. For 2 years, they were with the Red Sox, and I believe they have the longest running continuous affiliation of any minor league team since 1967. Reading has been the AA affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. So you're talking about an hour outside of Philadelphia, maybe a little less than that, and a really, really long connection to the farm team and the big league team. So this is a very, very popular minor league facility. It's one of the best ones, if not the best minor league facility I've ever seen a game. And now that's not saying that there aren't more modern facilities with better amenities, because absolutely there are better stadiums when you talk about that. But if you want to talk about history and you want to talk about just vibes and aura, then this ballpark, it's hard to beat it. Even the stadium where they filmed the movie Bull Durham, where the Durham Bulls play baseball, they don't play at that stadium anymore. They have a brand new facility and very rarely play at that old ballpark. So this is something very special. I know in Bradenton, when I still lived in Florida and was going around to a lot of those ballparks, the park in Bradenton is technically older and has been hosting baseball for longer, but I still think the vibe here feels older. They have a much better connection to their past at this stadium than the stadium in Bradenton, which hosts Pirates spring training and Bradenton Marauders Florida State League baseball. Anyway, as I have moved to the Northeast now, and I'm not going to have as many theme park videos, especially Walt Disney World and Universal, for a little bit, but I'm going to try to get around the Northeast, try to get you some of these videos of places that you can travel that aren't just theme parks. I've always done baseball vlogs and shown you a lot of different minor league baseball stadiums, but I'm going to do a lot more than that over the next few months and years, because this channel isn't going anywhere. We just passed 2,000 subscribers. I want to thank everybody for that. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. And we've just continued to grow steadily over the past 4 years, and since we are continuing to grow, even though my podcast co-host Maz is no longer an annual pass holder at Walt Disney World, even though I am living up here now, we're still going to find ways to keep you entertained. We're going to talk travel, we're going to talk other topics as well, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So stay with us, I promise it's going to be a great time.